back to Tealstone Homestead. It is a chilly November morning this morning, and I can definitely feel winter starting to set in, and I'm not ready for it. But as always, when you have a homestead, the show must go on, and you're never truly done working, which is a great thing because it gives me a purpose to actually get outside and to get things done. But I do not enjoy the cold. But I do have to be honest though, it is probably one of the most gorgeous times when you wake up in the morning and the sun starts peeking through the woods and you see just frost on the grass, just blanketing the grass. It just looks like diamonds everywhere. I do think that that is gorgeous, and I am ready for that view. I'm just not ready for the cold that comes with it. There's a couple of things that I need to get done today, and I'm gonna take you guys along as I get them done today. First things first, we need to check on the Creme d'Argent litters, so Vespa's litter and Illyria's litter. And we will also check on the Netherland dwarf babies briefly and see how they're doing and make sure everybody is doing okay. And I actually have to go to town after that. I'm not gonna take you guys to town with me, but when I get home, we need to make some raw dog food. I'm out of raw dog food. I've been out for a while. I've made dog food on the channel before, but it was a cooked recipe. And this summer we invested in a Weston Pro grinder, and we can throw entire rabbits, like bone and all, through that thing, and it's really, really cool. There's like a whole bunch of other things other than rabbit that's going in the dog food, and I'll just show you guys that as we make it. I've mentioned before that one of the primary reasons that we actually raise and butcher meat rabbits is to feed our dogs, as well as ourselves, but it definitely feeds our dogs as well. I don't always have time to make raw dog food because the way that I make it, it's kind of an involved like process, because I like to make sure that everything's balanced. My dogs are just a little bit spoiled. And I know I'm gonna have comments about people saying like, you don't need to do all this for your dogs, but I do because it makes me happy. So it's good for them, it's good for me, it's good all around. But before we get to that, we are going to go check on some baby bunnies. So I'm gonna go walk down to the barn and show you guys how they're doing. Before we check on the baby bunnies, I did want to show you guys the progress with the Growout pins. I have one more to make. We got a third one done, and I am just really, really happy with these, you guys. And I can't wait to be able to share the plans with you. And I'm really hoping that I'll be able to film this video and get it out by Thanksgiving. But if it's not, then it will be definitely like right after. So I'm hoping to have these out very, very soon. And it's really exciting. I can't wait to share with you guys. Also, here is a glimpse of what real life looks like around here, you guys. I have a mess on my workbench over here, and the rabbitry is quite messy, needs swept out. And trays need emptied, but the rabbits are very happy with the cold weather right now. They really like temperatures like this. I don't, but I'm glad that they do. So I went ahead and brought both nest boxes out here because I want to show you guys the difference in grow rates between these two litters so far. This is Vespa's litter. Vespa had 8, and this is Illyria's litter. Illyria has 4. And these babies are super chunky, and these ones are more on the normal side of growth. So I'm going to show you the difference. Hopefully the camera picks up the difference. To me, it's like huge. Okay, so we will start with one of Vespa's babies. And I'm not picking and choosing or anything like that. This is literally just me grabbing one of them. And here is what they look like right now. They're so cute. Their eyes are opening and they're starting to get into their cute phase. They're so, so cute. So I am going to weigh this little baby and see how much it weighs, and then I'm going to compare that to one from Illyria's litter. Okay, so this baby from Vespa's litter is right in between 7 and 8 ounces. Needle's right in between those two numbers. So now we're going to pick out one of Illyria's babies. I cannot believe this, you guys. This is one of Illyria's babies. And I really don't know if you guys are gonna pick up on the size difference here, but these guys are chunky monkeys. Like, they are so big. Even their faces are chunkier. And I truly believe it's because it's such a small litter and there's no fighting over milk, because all of them are getting basically all they can eat. So just look at that, it's crazy. I'm gonna go weigh this one and I'm gonna see how much this one weighs. So this baby is 12 ounces. So much bigger than Vespa's babies. I'm sure this isn't even the biggest one in the litter. Oh yes, and the one where I showed you it had like a white spot on its forehead, I actually think this is going to be a cull, unfortunately, because as it's developed a little white snip on its nose. Check that out. Isn't that funny? And the white strip is still there. I actually still wonder if the white strip on the forehead's gonna come out, but that one on the nose, I highly, highly doubt is gonna come out. So that's kind of a bummer because it is such a small litter, but I can repeat this breeding if they turn out well because I still have rival, obviously. So if they turn out well, we'll just repeat the breeding and we'll try again next time and see if we end up with any more of these, because it's been a while since I've had anything this odd pop up. I guess we'll just try to figure out if it is an anomaly or a genetic thing and go from there. But again, not too worried about it. I'm just gonna evaluate and see how these guys look as they grow, and it's the fun of rabbit breeding. They are seriously so cute. Here's Vespa's litter. They're getting so big and I'm so excited. And the grow-out pens that I just showed you before we started looking at these guys, they're gonna move out into the grow-out pen. So they'll have those big pens to run around in and stretch their legs and grow, and I think that'll be really good for them. The pens are 30 inches deep by 7 feet wide, so they're quite big and they will be very comfortable growing out in those. And then here is Illyria's babies. I guess they decided to go back to bed, but look at them. They're getting so big. It's crazy to me how quickly rabbits grow, and it never gets old to have litters because you never know what you're going to end up with. That is the fun of rabbit breeding. And now that we've looked at the Creme d'Argent babies, I'm gonna go get the Netherland Dwarf babies out. Because if you didn't watch my last video, you guys, Ringo and Vila had more babies. They had 3 baby Netherland Dwarfs here on our farm, and I am so excited because they're so cute and I love raising Netherlands. So this is Vila's nest, and we have some cute baby Netherlands in there. And I think they're starting to open their eyes. So we'll pull them out and look at them. So we have the one chestnut agouti baby here. They are so cute. Hi, little smushy. Hi, little smush. With his cute little smushed face. I thought they were opening their eyes. I could have sworn that I saw some of them have their eyes slightly open, which would make sense because it's about time that they do. But for some reason, he just is not opening his eyes for us today. But they are so cute. I just still feel like this opal baby right here is just a little bit darker than this one. And I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to really pick that up on the camera. But they're so stinking cute. I love their little heads. No one peed on me this time. In the video last week that I showed you guys where I was introducing these babies, one of them peed in my hand, so that's nice. I need to go to town, but first I need to rinse Aria off here because she's rolled in something this morning and she does not smell nice. So that's great. But after that, I need to go to town and get some pork shoulder because it's actually on sale, and that's part of what I'm putting in their raw dog food. Hopefully, when I come home, we'll be able to cut some stuff up and feed it through the grinder, grind up some whole rabbits, and make some dog food. And I'll show you guys what all I'm gonna put in that. But yeah, gotta rinse this nasty dog off. Gross. Come on, let's go. Now we can go in. You got all nasty. Well, I got home from the store with my pork shoulder and immediately went to work cutting it up. This was a bone-in pork shoulder. Ideally for the grinder, I just need to chunk it up and partially freeze it in order to get the best grind. Rabbit is really lean, and since it's the base for most of my dog food recipes, I tend to add a little bit of pork for fat content. You certainly don't want to overload your dogs on fatty cuts like this, but in combination with rabbit, it's pretty perfect. I always throw this pork shoulder bone into the freezer because later on I'll make pork bone broth for homemade ramen. Also, I had my pork stacked pretty high in this baking sheet, so I decided to move it to a cookie sheet so it would be a bit more spread out. Into the freezer it goes for about an hour, and then we'll take it back out and we'll grind it. Next, I have to chunk up 3 bone-in rabbits. Like I said before, this grinder is amazing and it will grind up whole rabbit bones, whole chicken, rabbit, quail, all of that. It grinds them all up. It does not care. So the way that I cut my rabbit up to put in the grinder, I'm a little haphazard about it. It starts out kind of the way that I would part out a rabbit for Jameson and I, but really I just need to chunk this whole entire carcass up. I really just need to chunk them up enough so that they'll fit down the grinder chute. And since they're partially frozen still, it's pretty easy to get cuts like that. But I do have to go a little bit crazy and use a cleaver on some parts of it because some of these bones do not want to break. The reason that I include bones in this dog food recipe is because dogs need calcium. And this is a whole rabbit cut up and ready for the grinder. This is our Wesson Pro grinder. It is amazing. I love it. It's so easy to clean. It's so easy to work with. And honestly, it's kind of fun too. I ended up grinding over 25 pounds of meat this day, and it didn't slow down at all. So I got the first rabbit done. Now we got to do rabbit number 2 and rabbit number 3. Our dogs are actually helping us clean out the freezer with this meal because I'm giving them a couple of freezer burned meats. That includes chicken breast, chicken hearts, freezer burned quail, and a bunch of chicken parts that were in our freezer that look fresh. I just have no idea how old they are, but the dogs are going to love them. And one thing I did not show me deboning or grinding up was I actually did a turkey for them as well. And that took a little bit of time and I just didn't film that one, but there is turkey in this as well. Now that all of our meat is ground up, I have to mix their supplements together. And I just want to reiterate, you guys, if you don't know what supplements your dogs actually require or need, then I would just err on the side of caution of giving them any. Typically for my supplement mix, I use pumpkin puree, and this just helps it to disperse into everything pretty evenly. One of the first things that I add to their supplement mix is kelp powder, and what kelp has in it is iodine. For their entire batch prep, all I needed to put in there was 3/4 of a teaspoon. And another thing I actually forgot to show on this video as well is I ground up a goat liver, and that also is going into their raw dog food. Goat liver provides a good source of copper for your dogs, but I know that I need to balance out this copper intake with some zinc capsules. So for this recipe, I'm adding 5 zinc capsules into my supplement mix. And I'm also adding manganese, and manganese just helps with joint health. And lastly, I'm adding fish oil. This isn't my favorite brand of fish oil. I actually prefer the brand Nordic Naturals, but this is what I could find locally, so this is what they're getting. And in this recipe, I'm adding 4 to 5 tablespoons of fish oil, which was the rest of the bottle. And then I'm just gonna mix all of it together, and now when I go to batch prep in my bin, I'm gonna dump that in there, and the pumpkin puree is gonna help it to disperse evenly among all of the ground meat and veggies and grains and all of what I put into the dog food. Alright guys, we are finally in the home stretch of making this dog food. It is a lot of work to make this much dog food at once, especially when you have 2 larger breed type dogs. But I'm going to show you everything that's in this tub, and I do use this tub typically outside to throw everything in and mix it with like literally my arms. That's the best way I can mix it. So what we have in this tub is we have spinach that is going to go in their food. We have yellow squash that I cooked down yesterday. That's going in their food. We have sweet potato, which is also going in their food. We have red cabbage that has been cooked down as well. And if you were wondering about the fruits and vegetables, they're not like 100% necessary for dogs, but I do find that my dogs benefit from them because fruits and veggies have certain phytonutrients in them that they just can't get from meat at all times, so that's why I put them in there, and they just like eating them too, so that's why I put those in there. We have our ground pork, we have our ground rabbit, ground turkey, and our freezer burned random chicken breast, chicken parts, chicken hearts type of mixed meat here. And also, I forgot to mention, but I did also grind up goat liver. And then, sorry, one more thing. Yes, it is very involved, and yes, they are very spoiled, but they do also have some cooked rice. I actually cooked this like yesterday and left it uncovered in the fridge. It's just a lot easier to work with, not as gummy when you leave it in there for 24 hours. And then, of course, their sweet potato mixture of supplements. So, now that we have all of these things ready to go, we're gonna throw them all in the tub. We're gonna use our arms and we're gonna mix it all up. And then once it's all mixed, we're gonna batch it and put it in its containers. And it is cold outside, you guys. This is gonna be very cold, so I'm gonna try to work as fast as I can. Just because I don't wanna be out here any longer than I have to be. I'm gonna just throw it all in there. It doesn't help that most of this food is very cold as well. There we go. There's their sweet potatoes. Just gonna squeeze it out of there. And there is no avoiding getting your hands dirty. It's gonna happen. Get their yellow squash. Their red cabbage, their sweet potatoes. The thing that's gonna make this super cold is this frozen spinach. Put that in there. Oh, and I forgot again, my dehydrated apples right here. Which are also frozen solid. They weren't completely dehydrated, they were just a little bit dehydrated. So now I'm just literally gonna get in here with my hands and freeze. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. But they're worth it. I could technically do this in the house, but also for you guys, the lighting is better out here. So I will suffer for the camera. I mean, the ingredients have to be cold so that nothing spoils. So you can't really avoid that. It's a big clump of meat right there. And yes, as soon as I'm done, my clothes come off and I go to the shower. And my clothes go to the washing machine. I don't think I've ever made such a pretty raw food though. I don't know if I've ever put red cabbage in it before. So it just looks kind of like rainbow colored and I really like that. Well guys, we ended up with 27 days of raw dog food. That feels like an accomplishment. Most of them need to go over to our deep freezer. I have my cleanup crew working hard, as you can see. But several of these will stay here, and then tomorrow they'll enjoy a nice raw breakfast. Very cool. I can't remember if I mentioned this in this video or not, but I did say it was a 27-day batch prep of raw food, but we also feed 50% kibble because we can't afford to completely feed our dogs raw. We can't afford to spend the time making it as I do, and we can't afford how much it costs to feed raw and all of the rabbits that I would need to be producing to do that. This will be a 27-day batch prep for half kibble, half raw for both of my dogs. If I had one dog, this would be 27 days worth of like full-on raw food, but I don't. I have two larger breed dogs. Ronan's about 70 pounds and Ari's 60. So it just would be a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money to feed them 100% full raw NRC balanced. And I can't afford to do that. I discussed NRC balancing a little bit more in a previous video I did on making dog food. Granted, it was a cooked recipe, but it does explain a little bit about that and a little bit more in depth on some of the things that I was doing in this video. So if you want to watch that, I will link that down in the description. But I am excited that you guys got to spend the day with me. Granted, it's another day at this point, but you guys got to spend the day with me while I was checking baby bunnies, making dog food, and all of that. And I hope that you maybe learned something new. I hope that you were inspired. And with that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.